Welcome once again. We have started the unit 4, that is e-governance and winding up of a company. In the previous lectures, we have completed e-governance and e-filing. Today we will see the next topic of this unit 4, that is winding up of a company. In this topic, we will cover up the meaning of winding up, dissolution of company, conceptual understanding of winding up by the tribunal, compulsory winding up, member voluntary winding up, and creditors voluntary winding up. So these are the things which we will be seeing in winding up. So let us first see the meaning of winding up. See, a company comes into existence by an artificial process and it comes to an end by an artificial process only. There is no other means through which it can be brought to an end. So the dissolution of a company may take place in the following manner. The first is by striking off the company's name from the register of companies when such a company becomes defunct. Or second, by order of the court without resorting to winding up. And third, by resorting to winding up proceedings. So these are the three ways through which a company can be dissolved or a company can be brought to an end. Okay, so this is what winding up means. If you see, according to Sir Palmer, a company incorporated under the Companies Act cannot be put to an end except by winding up or by removal from the register as a defunct company. Okay. Or according to Pennington, winding up or liquidation is the process by which the management of a company's affairs is taken out of its director's hand, its assets are realized by liquidator, and its debts and liabilities are discharged out of the proceeds of realization, and any surplus of assets remaining is returned to its members or shareholders. So these are the two definitions given by the Sir Palmer and Pennington. Okay. So a company is considered to be defunct. We have used the word here defunct. So a company is considered to be defunct when it is not carrying on business or when it is not in operation and no steps are taken to revive the functioning of it. So if a company has ceased to carry on business, the registrar may strike off its name from the register as a defunct company. In short, the most common way of dissolution of a company is through the process of winding up. So this was the meaning of the winding up. Now let us move on to the dissolution of a company. What does dissolution of company means? See, the court has substantial powers to pass an order of dissolution without winding up. According to section 481, if the company had no assets left and where there was no point in winding up, the court is empowered to direct dissolution when the affairs of the company have been completely wound up or when for want of funds the liquidator cannot proceed with the winding up, or if it is just and reasonable to do so, the court shall make an order that the company be dissolved from the date of the order and the company shall stand dissolved. And within 30 days, the liquidator should file a copy of the order with the registrar. So this is what dissolution of company means. Okay, the company does not get dissolved immediately on the commencement of the winding up proceedings. Okay, in fact, the winding up of a company precedes its dissolution. That means winding up is the first step followed by the next step, which is dissolution. Okay, so once the company is dissolved, it ceases to exist and its name is struck off by the registrar from the register of companies. So that means during the winding up proceedings, but before the dissolution of a company, the legal status of a company continues. Okay, so during the process of winding up, the liquidator represents the company. However, in the dissolution process, a company cannot be represented by the liquidator. So this is what the difference between dissolution and winding up is. Okay, so here it was dissolution of company. Now let us move on to the modes of winding up. What are the modes through which a company can be wound up? So as per the Companies Act 2013, a company may be wound up by the following modes. So the first is by the tribunal, that is National Company Law Tribunal, that is compulsory winding up, we can say it. The next comes voluntary winding up. After that, winding up by the tribunal if scheme or arrangement not working. Then comes winding up by the central government. Next, removal of name of a company from register. And next comes winding up of unregistered companies. So these are the ways through which a company can be wound up. So let us see these all one by one. Winding up by the tribunal, that is NCLT, compulsory winding up भी हम उसे कह सकते हैं. So compulsory winding up is nothing but the winding up by the tribunal. Winding up of a company by an order of the tribunal is known as compulsory winding up. So whenever the court has order for the winding up, then that is termed as compulsory winding up. So what are the grounds on which a compulsory winding up can take place? And this has been given in which section? That is section 271. So first is special resolution. A company may be wound up if the company has by special resolution resolved that company be wound up by the tribunal. Here the tribunal has to exercise its discretionary powers bona fide. While deciding the case of a winding up, public interest must be taken into consideration. That is given under section 271 clause B. Next is what? Next is default in filing financial statement or annual reports. A company may be wound up if default is made in filing statement or annual returns with the registrar for immediately preceding 5 consecutive financial years. Then in that case also compulsory winding up can take place. Then next comes if the company is unable to pay its debt, that is given under section 271 clause A. According to section 271 subsection 2 of the Act, a company shall be deemed to be unable to pay its debt if a creditor by assignment or otherwise to whom the company is indebted for an amount exceeding 1 lakh rupees then due has served on the company by causing it to be delivered at its registered office by registered post or otherwise. A demand requiring the company to pay the amount so due and the company has failed to pay the sum within 21 days after the receipt of such demand or to provide adequate security or restructure or compound the debt to the reasonable satisfaction of the creditor. In a simple way, अगर कंपनी ने अपना डेट पे नहीं किया है, किसी क्रेडिटर का अपना डेट पे नहीं किया है, and that also amount exceeding 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so this is the first case under the company is unable to pay its debt. The second is if any execution or other process issued on a decree or order of any court or tribunal in favor of a creditor of the company is returned unsatisfied in whole or in a part. Or if it is proved to the satisfaction of the tribunal that the company is unable to pay its debt, and in determining whether a company is unable to pay its debt, the tribunal shall take into account the contingent and prospective liabilities of the company. So under these three sub cases, when a company is unable to pay its debt, then a tribunal can order for compulsory winding up. Okay. Now next comes just and equitable. That is given under section 271 clause G. So just and equitable means what? Just and equitable means that a company may be wound up if the tribunal is of the opinion that it is just and equitable that the company should be wound up. While exercising this power, the court has to take into consideration not only the interest of the shareholders and creditors but also public interest of the employees, etc. So there are various grounds on there are various instances of just and equitable grounds on the basis of which the courts have dissolved the companies. So they are like loss of substratum. Substratum means that if the company cannot achieve any of its main objects on which it was established, then on such cases also compulsory winding up can be said by the tribunal. For example, if a company fails to obtain a patent for an invention which it was formed to exploit on the assumption that the patent would be granted, but that has not happened, then on that base, it is just and equitable by the tribunal to just wind up the company. Okay, now second can be deadlock in management. When there is deadlock for permanent nature in the management of a company, the court is justified to wind up a company on the ground of just and equitable case. Or formation of a company for illegal or fraudulent object. If a company is formed for carrying out the illegal or fraudulent work, then on that basis also it is just and equitable by the tribunal to wind up the company. There are various cases of just and equitable, like operation of minority, bubble company. Bubble company means a company which has no real business is called a bubble company. Such companies are also termed as fly-by-night companies. So such a bubble company not having any resources to commence business may be ordered to be wound up. Okay, so there are various cases, or in a public interest also the court may order winding up of a company. So there are various just and equitable cases given under section 271 clause G on which tribunal can order for the compulsory winding up. Okay, now next comes acts against sovereignty and integrity of India, that is section 271 clause C. Tribunal can pass an order of winding up if the company has acted against the interest of the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, decency or morality. So on this basis, also compulsory winding up can be said. Next is business of Sikh industrial company not viable in future. Section 264 subsection 4. Where it is difficult to implement the scheme of revival and rehabilitation due to any reason, or the scheme fails due to non-implementation of obligations under the scheme by the parties concerned, the company administrator authorized to implement the scheme, and where there is no such administrator, the company, the secured creditors or the transferee company in a case of amalgamation may make an application before the tribunal for modification of the scheme or to declare the scheme as failed, and that the company may be wound up. So this is another case of winding up, that is the compulsory winding up. And the last comes conduct of company affairs in fraudulent manner, section 271 clause E. If on an application made by the registrar or any other person authorized by the central government by notification under this act, the tribunal is of the opinion that the affairs of the company have been conducted in a fraudulent manner, or the company was formed for fraudulent and unlawful purpose, or the persons concerned in the formation or management of its affairs have been guilty of fraud, misfeasance or misconduct in connection therewith, and that it is proper that the company be wound up. In a simple way and a simple language, if a company is conducting its affairs in a fraudulent manner or in an unlawful manner, then it is a very well interest in the public that that company should be wound up. So these are the grounds for compulsory winding up which are given under section 271, that is special resolution, default in filing financial statement or annual reports, if the company is unable to pay its debt, just and equitable, acts against sovereignty and integrity of India, business of Sikh industrial company not viable in future, and conduct of company affairs in fraudulent manner. Okay. Now next comes voluntary winding up. Next is voluntary winding up. Voluntary winding up by members. Section 304. By passing special resolution by members themselves, company may be wound up voluntarily. Voluntary winding up may also be done in this way if the company in general meeting passes a resolution requiring the company to be wound up voluntarily as a result of the expiry of the period of its duration, if any fixed by its articles, or on the occurrence of any event in respect of which the articles provide that company should be dissolved. So voluntary winding up by members is if the members decide themselves that the company should be wound up, or for a matter for which the company was formed, the purpose has been served, or by articles it was decided that after that time period the company should be wound up. So on that basis, voluntary winding up by members can be taken. So this is what voluntary winding up by members means. Next comes creditors voluntary winding up. When the company is unable to file a declaration regarding its ability to pay its debts and discharge all liabilities, the winding up is called creditors voluntary winding up. Why it is called creditors voluntary winding up? Because when the company is unable to file a declaration regarding its ability to pay its debts and discharge all liabilities. So in this case, creditor's voluntary winding up takes place. The company's inability to file the declaration points to the insolvency of the company. If the company is unable to file the declaration, then it means what? That the company is not in a viable position to pay its debts. So it is obligatory for the company to call a meeting of the creditors on the same day as is fixed for its members or the following day. The members and the creditors pass separate resolutions to wind up the company at these meetings, and the members and creditors with mutual agreement appoint the liquidator, and when there is disagreement, the creditors nominee will be appointed as liquidator. So in this way, creditors voluntary winding up takes place. So this was the voluntary winding up by members and creditors voluntary winding up. Next comes winding up by tribunal if scheme of compromise or arrangements not working. If scheme of compromise or arrangements sanctioned by the tribunal under section 230 subsection 6 of the Act is not working satisfactorily with or without modifications, and the company is unable to pay its debt, in such circumstances, the tribunal is empowered to pass an order of winding up under section 231 subsection 2 of the Act. Such order shall be deemed to be order of winding up under section 273 of the Act. So if the scheme of compromise or arrangements which was sanctioned by the tribunal under section 230 subsection 6 of the Act is not working in a proper manner or without any modification, and company is still unable to pay its debt, then the tribunal is empowered to pass in resolution of winding up under section 231 subsection 2 of the Act, and then it can be wound up. The company can be wound up. Okay, the next comes winding up by central government. So winding up by the central government is provided under the new Act. Winding up of the central government is provided under the new Act. Small companies with assets of book value less than 1 crore and belonging to a specified class of companies can be wound up by the order of central government by following summary procedures specified under section 361 to 365 of the new Act of 2013. So in these cases, the central government can took the following in his hands to wound up the company. That is basically the small companies with assets of book value that is less than 1 crore, or if a company is belonging to a specified class, then central government can order the following these companies to be wound up. Okay. Now next comes removal of name of company from register. Through this also a company can be wound up. So registrar of companies is empowered to remove the name of non-functioning company from the register under section 248 of the Act. This can be done if a company is failed to commence its business within 1 year of its incorporation. Second, the subscribers to the memorandum have not paid the subscription which they were supposed to pay within 180 days from the date of incorporation of a company. And third, a company is not carrying on any business or operation for a period of 2 preceding financial years and has not made any application within such period for obtaining the status of a dormant company under section 455. So these are the three cases. Under which a registrar of companies is empowered to remove the name of the company from register. So first one was when the company is failed to commence its business within 1 year of its incorporation. Second, the subscribers to the memorandum have not paid the subscription that they were supposed to pay within 180 days from the date of incorporation of the company, or if a company is not carrying out any business or operation for 2 preceding financial years. So these are the 3 cases under the removal of name of company from register. Okay. Next comes winding up of unregistered companies, that is given under section 375 to 378. So an unregistered company or a foreign company can also be wound up under the provisions of Companies Act 2013. No unregistered company shall be wound up voluntarily. An unregistered company may be wound up under the following circumstances. First is the company is dissolved or has ceased to carry on business or is carrying on business only for the purpose of winding up its affairs. The second case is if the company is unable to pay its debt. And the third case is if the tribunal is of opinion that it is just and equitable that the company should be wound up. So these are the three cases through which an unregistered company or a foreign company can be wound up. But they cannot be wound up voluntarily. They can be wound up under these three circumstances only. That is, they are not carrying out any business, just they are carrying out business for the winding up of its affairs, or if the company is unable to pay its debt, or if the tribunal is in the opinion that it is just and equitable that the company should be wound up. I have told you in detail what is just and equitable means and what are the circumstances under which it is termed as just and equitable for the company to be wound up. So these were the three circumstances under which a company, unregistered company or a foreign company can be wound up. Okay, so I hope you have understand these are the ways through which a company can be wound up. So there comes the petition for winding up. Who are applicable to file a petition for winding up? See, an application to the court for the winding up of a company shall be the petition presented by the company or by any creditors or creditors including any contingent or prospective creditor or creditors, or by any contributory or by combination of creditors, company or contributories acting jointly or separately, or by the registrar or any person authorized by the central government as per section 243, or by the central government or state government when the companies act against when the company acts against sovereignty and integrity of India. So these are the people, or these are the people who can file a petition for winding up, and this is given under the section 272. So who can file the petition? That is the company, creditors, contributories, or the combination of creditors, contributories, or company, or by the registrar, or by the authorized person, or by any authorized person by the central government, or by the state government or the central government. So these are the people who can file the petition for the winding up, and this is given under the section 272. So this was all about the winding up of a company. Today this chapter is over. That is your unit 4, e-governance and winding up of a company. I hope you have understood all the lectures on this unit. Now, thank you.